We're back again. Episode number 11.
Yeah.
We did it. 1-1.
And we added another 1 to that 10 with our new guest, Mike Glazer.
Thank you for having me.
Excitement, yeah.
I'm stoked to be here. I didn't know you've done 10 so far.
Yeah.
That's rad.
Double digits, baby.
That's a big deal, man. That's a real big deal. How does it feel?
Like we don't know what we're doing. Just kind of winging it every episode, you know?
Thank God.
I think that's like the point of like a podcast. It's just kind of like you get an insight of just like what it's like to hang out with a group of people, friends or new friends, and just kind of hear people shoot the shit, you know? That's why I like to listen to podcasts.
We have a very non-themed podcast. We just like people to know how dumb Eric and I are. And then Charlie is our couch
I'm
man.
the same. Don't try to make me sound smart.
No, yeah. Well, you're just a British dumb.
I've seen some of those clips. I sound more stupid than you guys. You guys are stupid.
Yeah. You and your pounds.
That's right.
So,
but today's about you, Mike. That's the real deal.
Oh, okay. That makes me uncomfortable, but let's go.
Yeah, exactly. All the pressure.
let's
That's how we like our guests.
Like, shout out a little like basically like fellow comic.
Yeah.
Known you for a while.
Yeah.
Always a great hang.
Yeah,
And,
man. We've smoked and drank together.
Yeah, man. We've done some shit together.
I haven't gotten like fucked up with you yet.
We can change that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm open to
absolutely.
it. That would be real fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see where tonight goes. I mean,
honestly, I've been going to this place called Bar Lubitsch
yeah.
on Santa Monica.
I have bartender friends that work there. So
Really?
we can get a free tab, man. Yeah. We can get
That
lit.
sounds fun. Man, sometimes it's crazy because there's a comedy show there called Jetpack on Fridays. And sometimes I'll just go to that and hang out and watch. And then a half hour later, like everyone who's on cocaine shows up and it turns into a club. And it's like very different than like the topical political comedy hour that happens before it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because then the music changes too. It's like this dark disco. It's funny because that have you've been to Bar Lubitsch? It's almost like what you remember those like the club in like Blade. You know what I mean? It's just so dark and it looks like it's an old building. They do a really good job like making it like look like an early, last century type pub.
Totally.
You love it.
Crunchy.
I would love it.
Yeah.
I'm into the gritty places. I don't get this new high-tech modern bar stuff. It's not the vibe I want. I want I'm not doing the drugs. I want people on drugs. I want a drink. I want it to be jam-packed, some just good rock music or whatever, and I'm in. That's what I like.
Yeah, that's
no relaxing.
All the best pubs and best places to go are always like the shittiest, like diviest places.
The dive bars.
The owners of the Bar Lubitsch are the same people that own the Pikey back when the Pikey was still a thing.
I love the Pikey.
Yeah. So you can tell it's exact same vibe, same little like white and black tile, same bar stools and stuff. So they did a good job. And then when they lost the Pike and they made it to whatever the hell it is now, have you been there since then?
No.
Now it's like
dude, they really like stripped it of all its character. Like well, that was the thing, dude. The owner apparently was like killing cats or like he was like,
wait, what?
Not like serving them, just like would get mad and like I'm gonna kill a fucking kitten, and they would like adopt.
The new
bullshit.
horses that just opened up.
Yeah.
That place just closed down again.
Because
can't kill cats in this town.
I think it was his wife or his ex-wife was like, y'all, I got to draw the line here.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if y'all saw the Batman with Pattinson and the Riddler.
Yeah.
But it was like that kind of a vibe to me. You remember when the Riddler was walking his dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
So what was he
It's too
doing with
heavy.
these cats? What was going on?
Here it is.
A top LA chef at horses accused by wife of killing family cats. He denies claims.
Wow. See, but that is too specific of a claim to deny.
I know.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? The specificity of killing cats is like not... that's a hard one to be like, no, she's making that up. It's like,
it was dogs.
I wonder if he's killed a human too.
That's crazy.
That's how it starts.
Because that place was like getting trendy and like even from like hearing other people talk about it, there was lines to get in. There's like a wait list and stuff. It was like a hip spot to go to. I didn't no idea that it shut down. So now I wonder what the fuck it's going to be.
I feel like it would make it more popup though, right? It adds a little mystery to the place.
I don't know.
Maybe that's just me.
I don't think dead cats ever like.
It's cursed.
It's
dude.
like
Is this the place where they kill cats at?
Yeah.
But what's the place downtown where the lady died in the girl died in the tank?
The Cecil Hotel.
Yeah, so that's like.
But even that place, I
everyone's
don't
going
think
there
people were
after
going
that.
down there to hang at the bar after that because that was the same
what
place.
was the Cecil Hotel?
Where you tell the story because the documentary you.
It was I'm a big fan of like that dark Hollywood shit, but the Cecil downtown, that's the one that like the Richard Ramirez was staying at when he was doing his little run.
Yeah.
And then some chick like maybe 5-10 years ago like went missing, and they found her in one of the water reservoirs on top of the building and shit.
Her body.
And there was like a bunch of people complaining about water pressure, and then the water having like a certain
and
tint
shit.
and shit.
So there's
like
the
a
security
couple.
camera footage, which is what
Yeah,
made
so
it
she's
eerie.
like talking to herself in the elevator. So they were wondering if there's like a ghost or a specter that was like, you know, doing some shit. But she also had like some psychiatric issues and stuff. So they think she just was like off her meds, roaming around Skid Row, and then eventually just went on a because there was a ladder to climbed up to the top of the water reservoir, and then it was unlocked. So someone that's claustrophobic and not a good swimmer, talk about a terrifying death. You just get up there and you can't get the fuck out because there's just like you can only tread water so long.
Yeah,
At least I am.
terrifying. I had to get an MRI recently.
Oh, dude,
right? Even that is so intense. To
how tight is that tube around you?
Yeah, man, shoulder to shoulder, both ends touching.
No, dude,
it's intense.
I was legit supposed to.
Yeah,
get
you're
an
squeezing
MRI.
your hands on it. I was too, dude.
Yeah, for real. 'Cause I was like thinking about that because like I was talking to another comic about MRIs and like. There's different times of how much time you're in there for. Like, there's like Lyle Behrens or something like that. But he's in there for like 40 minutes, and then someone else is in there for like an hour or 2 hours or some shit. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like you have to be awake during that, right? You can't just like knock you out because that, especially doing like a CT scan and shit.
Yeah, awake and you can't move. Like I kept kind of twitching a bit. You know what I mean? Because they're like, don't move, which makes you want to move right away. Like it's just subconscious, and they keep having to like reshoot it, and they're like, stay still. I'm like, I'm in a tiny tube, and you're
like
telling me to
worst
stay
nightmare.
still. Yeah, if you told me like if you just didn't tell me anything, I would have been able to do this.
What did you have to get an MRI for?
Shoulder and neck. I'm all toast. If anyone out there listening knows of a good orthopedist, get at me. I'm looking for second opinions right now.
What have you used so far? Do you use anything to help it?
Yeah, I got cortisone shots in my neck 2 days ago. That was intense. I took videos of that because I'd never done it before. They take, because it's all right here in my neck. It's all these muscles are all fucked up. And so they took a needle about that big, filled it with Novocaine and cortisone, which is some kind of serious anti-inflammatory. And they put it in the base where all of your muscles connect to your skull. And then down here where the muscle connects to your spine. And then on your collarbone where the muscle connects to your collarbone. And they like do all of and they like triangulate the muscle, and then all the Novocaine rushes into the muscle and then relaxes all of it, and then hopefully it can start healing itself.
Is it addicting though? Does it feel good?
Brother, I want more and more. You better believe it. Yeah, it feels really good.
Dude, I've had like a fucked up knee for like the last like 6 months, but it's like compounded from being like old, a shitty skateboarder, and like a motorcycle accident, all just kind of rolled into one. And then I was gonna get an MRI, and they like downgraded me to an X-ray and shit. But I was like, hey, give me a shot, give me something. I just want to fucking feel that pain. And the thing about like shots and stuff with doctors is like when I donate blood, like they have a hard time getting veins and shit. And like I'm always questioning whether they're not going to put the needle in the wrong spot and stuff like that. So like something like that where I'm like, are you going to numb the right place? Because I don't fucking trust that your head to be like lopsided. You're like the fucking tilted head guy from now on. But like,
do you think like with every like occupation, there's always like shitty people within those occupations,
dude.
and I'm always, anytime I have to go any place like serious, like a hospital or something, I'm like, man, does this fucking person know what the fuck they're doing? Or they just like copy on the test and like pass the grade, you know, got the degree, and like, are they just like a shitty version of what I'm trying to get help with? Yeah.
When I went into the for my X-ray and shit, and they're like, you're here for your left. Like they were questioning me. I'm like, is your name Anthony? Is your lefty? I'm like, yeah. Are you like confirming because like you've just done the wrong X-rays on people and stuff? Like, you hear about that shit when people get like an amputation, so they cut the wrong leg off or something like that. And like, if that was the case, and I went in for a right leg amputation, they cut
the wrong leg
off. I would just fucking just shoot me. I'm not going to go around with no legs now because you don't know how to do your fucking job. Like, absolutely not. I like even my doctor when I went in for my X-ray was like, check my knee out and stuff. She's like, go down to get some X-rays. She's like, and I'm like hobbling into the room, right? And she's like, I recommend not running. I'm like, lady, I fucking barely walked in here. How do you not hear what I just said? I can't fucking walk. How am I gonna go running? Should I just take myself out of the marathon I was gonna do this weekend?
Yeah,
like Jesus Christ.
Do any triathlons?
Just no more parkour. You should probably stop rock climbing.
Yeah.
Yo, sorry, I'm all over the place, but I saw a parkour video yesterday. I'm obsessed with.
I love them.
Yeah. Are you into that?
I watched was his Pasha? Is that his name? The guy that's married to the porn star. Maybe that's how I know him.
I stand corrected. Not nearly as excited as you.
I don't follow that guy. I found him the organic way, right?
This guy
from
can stop doing porn and start doing parkour.
He's not married to a porn star.
His OnlyFans page is...
Wait, go on.
Yo. It looks like I got deeper things to look up. No, it's these guys. Their name is like Scooter or something out of London. It's like 6 to 8 guys, and they find impossible things. It looks like it's impossible to get out of holes, like the fucking water tower and shit. And they jump in there all together, and then they work out different ways to get out of the holes one
Like
by
ants?
one through parkour and through like
What?
lifting themselves up with like little pieces of brick or like one pole that they climb up and then push off the top. It's fucking impressive. And it's the coolest. It's like stuck porn, but for like athletics, and it's really fun to watch.
Wait, what's it called again?
Mark can maybe find it. Mark, it would be stuck in hole parkour.
Imagine that'd be being out to like if you're going to hit on a lady or something and just front flip up to her.
I can't watch
So
any
just
of
me
that
that thinks
shit.
that's cool.
And then it's like scuba or
bump.
something like that. Scuba. Just these like dudes. I don't know. Anyway.
Whenever I see that shit go up on my feed,
There it is. STORROR.
Stora.
Look at these motherfuckers.
Okay, then they have to figure out how to get out.
Yeah. And so everywhere I'm walking now, I'm seeing holes that I want to dive in and with friends and try and like climb out.
Except you can't do parkour.
Yeah, I have a bad shoulder, bad neck.
Yeah.
you're like, help,
This backfires.
You guys want to get stuck in a hole together?
And then call the cops. And
This is the next podcast.
We did it again.
Don't jump in this hole.
2 weeks later, so we're still in the hole, but we're not stopping the podcast.
This shit gives me anxiety, like crazy bad. Like watching people run and jump off stuff and flip, and like whenever I see it on my feed, there'll always like be one that's thrown in there where it's like someone breaks their arm or like hits their face on like a corner of like a building or like falls off a building, and I'm like, no, I can't risk the 10 seconds of this clip to like see what's
I
gonna
love watching
happen.
that stuff.
Same.
It's
like
too
when
crazy.
somebody has a selfie stick and they're on like a steel beam,
Yeah, no.
1,000
No,
feet in the
no.
air, just like over the city.
The worst is when it's like their last video and they like just die after. They're like, oh my God. Like, first off, why is this being aired?
Yeah.
And then it's just like, and it makes sense why he died because it's a fucking really dumb idea. Like I watched one of some guy doing like a backflip to land on a ledge and he just misses and it's just like, that's it. And you're like, oh, okay.
God.
Like,
When you get so good at it, though, there is something kind of beautiful about it. It reminds me of skateboarding a bit when you just set up that perfect run. Because a lot of when they get good at it, they're not just like doing one jump. They'll traverse multiple buildings, stairs, ledges, and it's like skateboarding.
Did you see that one
skateboarding.
kid? He was like doing all
X
this
Games.
stuff and he's hanging off a building and he does like these pull-ups and then he's like couldn't do the last one and he's like and he just falls and
Yeah, I
dies.
saw
It's
that.
fucking
No.
crazy.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
man,
it's
it's so scary.
horrible. Just like, why would you do that? Like same thing with who's
Did
that?
you know when you watched it that was what was going to happen?
Yeah, I saw it on somebody else referred me to it, and then I was like watching it, so I kind of referred you.
you didn't think like a beheading, but like with push or
I don't know. It
pull-ups.
was like it was on my feed. It was like referred to in my feed thing, not like a
Fucking
person.
weird ass algorithm, dude.
Check this out.
Check out Eric's
Or
algorithm.
like who's that?
Just a bunch of deaths.
That climber, Alex Honnold.
Oh
Is
yeah,
that
Alex
his name?
Honnold. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a whole documentary of like anxiety. Like,
Did you
that
watch
shit's
that movie
insane.
at the cinema?
I did actually.
Yeah, it's one of the best experiences I've had at the cinema because he's alive, but it's the most. Forget any action movie there's ever been. It's the
that
most
Free Solo?
tense.
Yeah,
Everyone's
free
like
solo.
screaming. Oh, it's incredible.
Oh, he's a free solo climber.
He's a free solo climber. He does El Capitan in like a record time, and it's just insane.
Oh, you'll love it.
There's
gotta watch this
another
stuff.
video
Yeah.
on YouTube of him with this other guy Magnus, who's like a Norwegian or a Swedish guy, and he's like a famous climber, but he's more indoor and like technical, and he's like one of the best in the world. And he takes him on a very like entry level solo climb in I think it's like Nevada or something. And this dude is so fucking scared. It's like the most rudimental like there's all the holes are there for you. And Alex is like talking to him. He's like, this is like the easiest thing ever. Like, I wouldn't even take you on this if I didn't know like you were capable of doing this. This is extremely easy. And this guy just white knuckling, like you could just see the fear in his face, like from everything. And this guy's like totally pro. Like he could do this in, like with his eyes closed, but because it's like every step is like, could be your last fucking step. And like the camera angles are just like straight down. You're like, there's not like, you're fucked like that. It's so insane that I think that people still do that. Like even him, like having done all these crazy, climbs and stuff, he still goes out and will go like, even in that filming, it was like, yeah, like an hour before I did this, like some news station was interviewing me and I snuck off and did like this extremely hard solo thing that no one's ever done before and just did it with myself and like filmed it and shit. And I'm like, there's got to be something like different in your brain
Yeah.
to like do that and not have the fear of death constantly.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
they just, kind of low key suicidal.
Yeah, I think they did do like a neurological
He's like,
like,
I'm
thing
fucking
on him.
extremely depressed.
Yeah,
I'm
like
glad someone asked.
Like he's missing something where like he doesn't have like he's got like something like it's like Asperger's or fucking something where like he can't fucking like
One of the burgers.
like he doesn't like it doesn't like something doesn't like just he doesn't have that fear molecule in his brain where he just like doesn't care about shit, which is
Yeah, that guy will die. That guy's like the fucking crocodile hunter. Like you just keep, toying with death. Eventually, you'll catch up to you and shit. And
yeah,
that's
I guess
your
so.
destiny.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Do I want to be 100 years old with like a sharp mind and a body that doesn't work
Fuck
anymore?
no, dude.
I don't even
That's
want to
good
be 40, dude.
terrifying.
I'm already here. Damn it, didn't work.
Yeah. So, I don't know how I'd want to die.
How old do you want to live to?
Yeah, I
Mike?
was gonna
That's
ask
the
how,
question. Yeah.
how old do you want to live?
How old
to
are
be?
you?
So I'm going to be older than I want to be soon. How old are we living now? 130?
Wow.
What's the
You reckon
oldest
we're gonna get to
person?
that?
I don't know. I think
Dude,
the
I don't
oldest
think our
person
planet's
is like
gonna last that long. I don't think that's the funny thing is that we have made ourselves able to live that long, but like I think you and I are talking about that one ride home one day. It
I
was
feel
just
like 90 is a good number.
Right, but we're living like 90 is the new 70, right?
Yeah.
Because like
I think that's just that gap of the length of life will just keep increasing over the next like 20, 50 years. And now with artificial intelligence, which you're a writer, right?
Yeah.
So how do you think with like artificial intelligence that is infecting or affecting, that whole industry? Plus like, I think there's going to be advantages to it as well. Like that'll help people live longer and cure things too.
yeah.
But I just don't know where that balance is going to be. Like it's either going to like phase a whole bunch of people out or it's going to like,
It's good for medical, isn't
I
it?
don't
But
know,
it's
like-
not for writing. You're just gonna lose the humanity of writing in general. A robot can't think what a human literally thinks.
Yeah, but we also just watch people like climb and not die. And that's, entertaining. Like I
True,
got
yeah.
drunk the other night. I was doing
It
a
is.
stand-up show in Colorado, a place called Looney's. And after the show, we're all just drinking, hanging out. And somebody put on that slapping competition.
oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, the writers are in trouble. Like this is this is like doing real well. And I'm pretty entertained. Like, holy cow.
What if this writer's strike just kind of bounces into that idiocracy thing where it's just like, all right, we don't need actual fucking content with like 3-part, story arcs and shit.
Start having
Just-
Gatorade out of water fountains.
Exactly.
And shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Just fucking slap boxing people and just, and the same shit with like the parkour stuff. Cause there's like, was it like Fuse TV? You ever watch that? Like on,
Oh yeah.
just, it's like a bunch of fucked up bike tricks or whatever. Just like the same type shit where it's just like, crash videos and stuff. And
it's
that's
kind of like
also
the
entertaining.
original was like America's
Jackass?
Funniest
No.
Home Videos.
Yeah.
That's like the original YouTube and like
Yeah.
Instagram and all that shit. It was like basically that. And that was like a
Kid
huge
goes sledding.
that show
yeah.
was on for how many fucking years? Like fucking over a decade.
Yeah.
Bob Saget, like
And then ridiculousness after that.
yeah, Ridiculous
Yeah.
is like the new age or new version of that. But it's all like, it's like little stupid clips, which they're entertaining, they fucking make me laugh. I think that's like the best use of the internet is just to like make people laugh where it's kind of not being used.
I think Mark should take that image of that old person off. That's exactly why I don't want to live till that
People
long.
Have an
listening
image
to
of a
this, there's a
127-year-old lady on the
Well, how
screen
old
the
is
whole
she?
time.
122 years old. She
I don't
looks
wanna
like
look
she's
like that,
190
127.
years
But
old.
she's about 80 years
somehow.
past her prime.
Yeah.
What a-
Like the real crazy thing is going to be, I think maybe like 46, 47 would probably be my guess for the cutoff. Anyone older than that watched Late Night Fallon, watched a sitcom,
Yeah.
and now like anyone, maybe 46, 47 and younger, certainly younger. We'll watch prestige shows like Succession, but everyone's going to watch their favorite 6 people on TikTok, their
Mhm.
favorite 4 people on YouTube. Like,
yeah.
Mm.
like I don't know. Like I don't. The entertainment industry is going to be so fucking different even 10 years from now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like unless you come up with an amazing idea that is either unscripted or you're a brilliant person who can write something like The Wire. Like I just don't see a lot of room for bad TV anymore to actually happen.
late night
Yeah.
TV
Yeah,
for sure. Like
yeah.
I
That's dying
see
out.
that like definitely getting phased out. Even like a podcast, like half the people that have done late night shows have their own podcast now, and it's longer format. It's not all these commercials and waiting for the audience to stop clapping at something stupid or like it's just like having conversation, which is what people I think are interested in.
And I fucking love watching podcasts.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
I love watching a podcast. I watch, well, in the background during my day when I'm like writing and doing comedy shit, in the background is poker because I think it makes me smarter to listen to it, even though I'm not like paying attention. And the Always Sunny in Philadelphia podcast.
Double down, yeah.
I need to listen to that.
I haven't
I've heard
even listened to
amazing
that
things
one.
Oh,
about it.
I know
dude,
they
just
have
watching
one.
it and they show clips and then talk about the clips. Like, it's the shit. I love it. So like, yeah, I don't know where entertainment's going to go in 10, 20 years from now. Movies are going to be incredible. Movies are going to be fucking the best thing in the world. But, you know, Tom Cruise and Mick Q, I think is his name, the director. Like, those are special divine beings to me. Like, it'll be cool to watch what happens with indie movies, because I think there's going to be a lot more room and space for those to get a shitload of funding than there is right now. And that'll be tight. Like, you'll be able to make things cheaper and maybe make a more powerful impact than you can right now, because right now it's like, oh, we need Kevin Hart attached for this to get made, and like that's, I think, on its way out, honestly.
Well, like the Blair Witch Project, that was like kind of the first version of like a kind of, it was like a low budget. I think it was like $1 million to make the whole thing, and it made like a shit ton of money.
It was a lot less than that. They used $1 million for promotional when it got picked up by one of the big companies, but they made it for, what was it? It was
like 500,000, or it was something like extremely low.
It was like 20,000, I think. It was like that.
Maybe that, even that.
Maybe that's paranormal.
No, I think
either way.
But think of that
Great
technology
movie.
that they use, and how long ago was that? Like 20 years ago? Like more than 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So like the technology that they use now is like way worse than what's on our phones right now. And like that gives everyone the opportunity to like be creative.
It's just interesting because there's not like an actual, like, there used to be a main channel. Like, you look at, did you watch that like I Love Lucy documentary or movie that came out a couple years ago?
Oh no. Damn. I did want to see that.
There was like some cool stats they were spitting out about that and how powerful that show was and how much of like viewership tuned into it, to the point where like Macy's and certain stores would do sales to try to combat them because they lose business. Like the actual, like the electric company had like a drop in power because people weren't doing laundry. Like, just there, it affected the whole fucking society because people just stopped what they're doing and watched that show. Right. But it was like, because it was on at a certain point in time, you had like everyone tune into it. But now with all the avenues of streaming, like you can watch the same show on like 10 different platforms. So it's really kind of hard to track where you're getting like your viewership and stuff from. And then when it comes to like company heads and stuff like that. So when it comes to like making things cost less to produce, that's the biggest thing you have going for like the art in a sense, because there's no longer somebody being like, well, how are we gonna get like money off this? It's like, if it's a shoestring budget and you can get it to build like the Blair Witch Project, you can get some cool shit made. But like the old analytics of like how things used to go on one main platform, it's kind of like fucking rock and roll, right? It used to be just rock and roll, and then it's subgenre to like metal and fucking hair metal and all that kind of shit, where it's just like we keep splitting it to like, it's weird kind of seeing like, you know, actual TV now change because there's no longer the main three channels. You have like your Netflix, your Hulu, your Amazon, and those have like become ABC, NBC, you know, CBS and all that kind of shit.
I never knew rock and roll was like the umbrella, like almost like network TV, but for music like that.
Yeah.
And then I imagine there was some super popular rock and roll bands that I've never heard of that were very angry when like heavy metal came out, and they were like, what the fuck, dude? Like, this is, my audience was like there, or something like that.
Yeah, it's funny because there's like that initial like wave of rock and roll, then it got subgenre, and then there's like, you know, the British invasion. Thanks, Charlie. You know,
but I think
like,
all those were still like dictated by huge companies and corporations, where now you're seeing all that being cut up and broken down, where like all those industries are kind of like, they don't know how to control the independence of the creativity of everybody, and they're like scraping to like monetize everything and do this, where it's like, no, like nobody needs any of that shit anymore. It's like a dying fucking breed. I think like
it's weird. It comes around again, because that's the cool thing about like your streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music and all that kind of shit, where like you can produce something yourself and put it out there, and if it gets traction, you don't need a label. You can do all that shit like
right. Well,
in-house.
now again, like you said, goes a full circle. It's all cyclical, like Spotify. Now it is a big, you know, platform that you can put all of your stuff on, but then for the artist or person or podcast, wherever it is, to monetize from that, they're not being compensated fairly, not nearly enough for the amount of views and stuff. So then there's going to be a point too where they're going to be like,
kind of goes
well,
back
fuck
to
Spotify, fuck this thing. I'll just put it on my own thing and make my own money. And I think until companies figure that out, like I don't really see a need for any of them really. Like, you know, YouTube and like Instagram and Facebook and all these other platforms, you can just kind of like go on those and promote and do whatever you want to do, and not have, yeah, granted, you're still giving a portion of your earnings to those companies, but you're still taking, you know, the lion's share and having more control over your art or what you're doing.
There was well, okay, two things that you make me think of with that. One is like, that's where it comes down to for the strike for me, the SAG strike and the writer's strike is like, somebody's getting paid. So you fucking pay me too. Like that's what are we even talking about?
Right.
Like residuals, analytics. Like if I'm going to monetize my podcast and it's going to be a click through rate, I'm getting paid for that. Like, and also the person who is like buying those commercials from me, they're getting paid because people are buying their product. Like everyone should get fucking paid.
Right.
And there's no question about that. But like when like I was supposed to do this, I'll be vague about it. I was supposed to do this comedy taping, 10 or 15 minutes for this streaming platform. And it was just going to be a flat rate to do it. Like $300, $500, something like that. But the contract, when they handed it to me right before I went up, they called it a personal appearance contract. But the appearance was, we own this tape, we own all of that, and we can do whatever we want with it. And I was like, that's fine. Like, you know, I've signed those things before where you'll clip it up and you'll put it on Instagram and you'll put it on YouTube, and then it'll live on your streaming platform, and you'll probably monetize your Instagram reel and it'll go viral and you'll make a bunch of money, way more than the 500 you're giving me back in monetizing that. But then where it got sticky was they were like, and we will also be able to share those things on Sirius XM and be able to use all of that in perpetuity. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm getting a flat rate of $500, and you're going to monetize my clips on Instagram, on YouTube, on Sirius XM for the rest of forever. And then I can't send those clips out because they're already out there. So why would they need them twice? Right. So now I've really given you all my material for the rest of its life for $500, and you're going to get paid on it until your company goes bankrupt. Yeah. And I was like, fuck off. Like, unless you want to negotiate this and redline it, where it's like maybe a year licensing deal for that material, and then it's mine again, and you get paid a little, and then we'll move forward differently or renegotiate, or you give me a percentage of my own material and then we can go that way. And they were like, nah, I don't think so. And I was like, great, well, then it's dead in the water, and I'm just not going to sign this. And they're like, yeah, fully, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, fuck you, man. Like, that's what this strike is all about. It's like, you're going to pay me one flat fee and then make bank off me for the rest of your life. Like, eat a dick. It's
the constant starving artist, you know, like that whole
do you reckon the writers are going to win this though?
No, they're going to lose so bad, and it's going to be brutal.
Yeah, that's what I think.
It's going to be ruthless and brutal, and I fucking wouldn't wish it on anyone. It's going to be ruthless, man. It's like the amount of like people who are going to have terrible Christmases and lose their homes and lose their health insurance. Dude, devastating. It's going to be fucking devastating. And I hate that. But that's also why it's so dope to do stand up, man. Like, I feel real blessed to be able to like go on the road. Like I've gotten to do some amazing writing gigs. Probably some of my proudest moments have been in a writer's room, writing for big networks, making friends, getting those things out to a ton of people and hearing them work. More satisfying than anything. But being able to do stand up and like work for yourself, I've never felt more blessed in my life to have that as like a back pocket way to make money while the rest of this industry is imploding. And it's fucking, I feel for like some of my homies who just had kids. They've been in writer's room their whole life, and those residuals like never showed up because it was for Netflix. And it's like, and now what? Like, I'll see you at an open mic, I hope, because you're funny as shit. You know, you're way funnier than anyone else. So I hope, you know, or you start making TikToks. I don't fucking know, but the industry is in a weird place, dude.
Yeah, it's got to come to an end at some point. Like, it's got to change. Like, I don't know. I don't see how it continues like the way that it's been going.
It's going to be a depressing end, and everyone's going to have to either do what you're lucky you've got the stand-up outlet. Yeah. But other people are just going to have to come crawling back and just unfortunately suck it up probably because you got to pay the bills, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like because I don't know. Because I also don't. I was never in the Writers Guild. I was close. I almost had enough points, and then the pandemic hit, and I wrote to the Writers Guild and was like, "Hey, there's been no work for 2 years, but I'm coming up on the end of my associate membership. Like, you get a 3-year associate membership to try and get more work and build towards getting in the guild." And I wrote to the WGA and I was like, "Hey, there's been a pandemic, It only costs me $70 a year to be an associate member. I get to go to meetings. I get to meet people. I get to network. I get to like get feedback on my scripts. I get to pitch myself for things that I might be a good fit for as a baby writer. It's a huge opportunity. Are you extending the associate memberships at all because of the pandemic? And they just wrote back the word no. And I was like, oh, well, then,
brutal.
Fucking what does it cost you to let me try and be a bigger part of something I want to be?
Yeah.
See, but with that kind of reaction, it doesn't that like just further like not wanting to like concede with like keep the protest going? Like, yeah, fine, take everything away, and at the end it's hurting themselves too, and eventually them too will implode and not
yeah, but
be
mine
there.
is more of like a bitchy little "oh, you hurt my feelings" thing. What they're fighting for is like to make real money where they're not making the money they deserve, and somebody else is making that money. So
Right,
I'm gonna take my own emotions out of the equation because that's some business shit, not some like me bitching and moaning about losing my associate membership. I think they're two different things.
But do you think that those people will like you said, they're eventually gonna like they lose their health insurance and like they're not be able to pay their bills and stuff like that, and then kind of come scurrying back like I'm sorry and like whatever and fold? Or do you think it's better to kind of go through that, even though as hard as it may be, and then come out the other side kind of like destroying the entity that forced them to do that, and then kind of shining a light on them as the negative impact that they had with the creative community and being like, we don't really need you. Like now we're all together, like we're all unemployed, and now we're going to start our own thing without you. And now you're left behind, and now you don't have a future. Now you don't have anything. Like, is that a possibility in the outcome that you may or may not see, I guess, with the whole strike?
Man, I don't have the answer to that, but that's a wild question to ask.
I mean, it's pretty extreme.
Keep Eric around.
I mean, it's pretty extreme, but it's
There'll be an element of it. But Netflix and all that, they're such a big entity. Like, they know they're winning this.
Yeah, but
they know. Like, and people immediately need to pay. Like a lot of these writers, they're not just like young kids, hopeful kids. Some of them are, but a lot of them are, like you said, the families. And they've been in it a long time, and that's what they do, and they just need that.
But that's where it goes back to like
they can't.
To other social media platforms like YouTube and posting videos and starting you're starting your own companies on those platforms where you don't have to be monetized on those platforms to make money. You can get endorsement deals and have other companies, fund you through that. And just is a free place for people to watch your art and your stuff. So you don't,
something might come out of this.
so like you can still do movies
evolution
on there and post a movie on there. It's a huge platform. Everybody in the world knows YouTube. You have, the platforms are there. I think it's just the mindset of people to go like, oh, I'm going to watch this new movie on this platform instead of the Netflix platform. It's like literally just like a window dressing that people are like, oh, I don't know. I'm not used to watching a movie on YouTube or, on a different platform other than like the ones that are kind of forced down my throat or that are like the dominant ones. And I think once that shift happens, or hopefully it does happen, then it's just going to free up like so much good art that's been like put on the shelf or never heard from, or so many people in music, art, comedy, movies, all that stuff. It just like suppresses all that because like certain people and companies dictate what they're going to push behind. That's like another thing. Like there's so many fucking horrible trash ass things that get pushed behind from big corporations. Tons of money, millions and millions of dollars, and they're absolute horseshit. We've all seen a movie where we're like, what in the fuck was that? Yeah. I want that hour and a half back. And there was multiple board meetings and fucking CEOs.
We already talked about Fast and the Furious.
And yeah, like that whole fucking
Fast 10. You didn't like Fast 10?
I don't like any of the fast.
You don't like any of the fast?
Yeah, case in point, right? Like, like all that shit though, right? Like, so it's like, it's not like it's like producing this like great thing by going through these like these entities. It's like suppressing like good things from being shown. So it's like,
okay, if I'm hearing you right, and this is an off the dome idea.
Yeah.
Taking like a, who's a good example? Like a Bill Lawrence who created like Scrubs. He just did Shrink.
Yeah.
Involved with Ted Lasso, I think. Yeah. Like instead of him as a writer and very successful, powerful EP, like holding strong against the streaming services and going on strike, him just like reaching directly out to Toyota and being like, I'm going to produce this thing, put it on YouTube, and there's going to be some like breakdown of royalties based on monetization that goes all the way down the line, like any other indie structure. And fuck these places. We're just going to move everything to a free platform like Twitch, YouTube, whatever, and then bring those sponsors with you instead of trying to use Netflix as the platform that seems like it has the power.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. That would be fucking cool.
That would be cool.
I mean, that would be really like indie shit again.
Yeah,
100%.
Why not?
Well, why not is because too, like I think my biggest problem, I tweeted about it a couple of times and people weren't happy about it, but I stand by it. Like my family's in St. Louis, Missouri. They're asking me about the strikes and they're like, what's going on with that? It seems like serious, but I don't really understand it. And I tried to explain it to them and how like important it was, but all they kept saying was like, yeah, but I see like Amy Poehler taking pictures with writers and they're all getting free pizza. Like it seems like it's not that bad. And I'm like, yeah, I bet you it is hard for my family in St. Louis to give a fuck about what they perceive as rich, successful people who are eating free pizza in the sun for a month, you know, like that's a tough thing. So, but I do think we need Amy Poehler on screen. So if there was a way to get her to go over to YouTube and do like 30-minute shorts, like why the fuck not?
There's like an endless amount of companies that are unrelated to entertainment, like anything, fucking Clorox bleach, whatever, fucking who gives a shit. They got a ton of money. That's all it matters is the money to fund those projects. And I think especially people that already have like a name and have a following, even Fast and Furious, if they were like, fuck Disney or whoever the fuck produces them, and we're like, we don't want to work with you anymore, but all the actors together and the writers were like, we're going to go to YouTube and do this and get, you know, X, Y, and Z sponsors, and we'll, you know, have them fund our thing. They have that audience that's going to just follow wherever they go. They don't like
care. They have to change the name to something like Quick and Ferocious.
Yeah. The cool thing about that too would be that then the Writers Guild could go into fresh from scratch negotiations with a place like YouTube, where there is no like union like meeting in the middle at all, because it's all a free for all fuckface kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So that would be awesome, because then both places would get things that they want, because everyone would be moving.
Everyone
over.
would be going there. Everyone would be making money.
You should put out the best content.
It's fucking a good idea, man. Yeah. Damn.
Speaking of good ideas, I was on your Instagram.
Ooh,
I love this idea that you had about the telescoping pot top, dude.
I'm gonna take a hit to that.
That was fucking genius. I was like, man, that is such a good fucking idea. I've got a couple inventions in my my brain.
Wait,
too.
explain it. What was it?
To go.
Yeah, I love it. I've been inventing shit since I was little. This invention specifically, I do a lot of cooking. I was on Worst Cooks in America on Food Network, and then I got third place on that and took the money from that to go to culinary school on the weekends in Pasadena. Graduated culinary school and got to work behind the scenes on a Gordon Ramsay show, where he patted me on the stomach and said, "Nice job on the steaks, mate." And like that's kind of like one of my like highlights of my life. Yeah, I was like, I'm good, dude. I'm a chef.
I'm a fucking chef.
And so my idea, because I have all these pots and pans and so many lids, is you just buy like a stack of pots and pans, like everything from a double boiler down to a small saucepan, but you have one lid. And it's a lid that it's telescoping. So you twist the knob and it opens to fit the next size lid. And you twist the knob and it opens to fit the next size lid.
That's
Twist
really
the knob,
smart.
open to fit the next size. Twist it all the way back down to the small. And then you really only need one lid for all your pots and pans.
Have you patented this yet? Do you own?
Dude, I don't know how any of that works. So let me know. If anyone understands business, that's all I know.
Got to figure it out before you release the podcast.
Well, it's on my
That's
IG.
a great idea.
I put it on my IG to test it. And everyone on IG was like, dude, that's a great idea.
Mark
really is.
Dumbass.
Yeah. All right, Mark. I see you, sir.
Yeah.
So, but the other like inventions I love them because when I was in third grade, elementary school grades were really important to me, and I'm left-handed. And so when we learned cursive, my ink and pen would smear all the time, and I got a C in handwriting from my fucking teacher. And I was like, well, I'm a lefty. Like, this is just how I write. She's like, well, it smears and it looks bad. So I got a C on my goddamn report card. Yeah. I'm ace and everything. A's. I'm taking a lot of pride. And so I invented this thing where it's 4 wheels and a square pad and then some like soft pad. And so when I write, I rest my hand on the wheels and the wheels go over the paper. And I used that for the second half of the year, called it the roller writer, and got an A, and then got first place in our invention convention. And I hope she realizes that, like, you know, even though she was wrong, she did. I have to thank her, even though I don't want to.
Oh, shit.
Damn. Yeah.
So you made that invention in 3rd grade?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
shit made me
impressive.
furious. I hate losing, dude. Like losing, I can't think of anything worse than losing.
Yeah.
And especially when it's unjust losing, that is probably one of my like biggest pet peeves. You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
a cop pulls you over and just starts fucking with you unjustly,
Yeah.
I hate that. Or if you hold, I yelled at someone the other day. I should have said thank you to you when you held the door open for me. I'm so sorry, man. Damn,
You are
dude.
forgiven.
I'm so
That's
sorry.
my work. I do
Because I usually will say to someone, "You're welcome." Like have a real fucking thing about
Nah,
it.
to be fair, I'm the doorman here. I don't know how I got on this podcast.
Whoa, fucking move quick,
I just
man.
walked in here.
So you're running this place in no time.
I'll get back out there.
Yeah. You want
Yeah.
to be on this podcast?
So I don't know, but thanks for the door.
What other inventions are you, like, without giving like too much away in case you're worried about that?
Oh, sure. Well, I think that chicken wings have a huge problem because the
like just that statement.
huge problem for chicken
Can't
wings.
fly.
Well, because the wing and the drumette are equal size mostly, but the ramekin for your ranch and your mustard and your barbecue sauce is circular, but the chicken wing and the drumette are oval. So why aren't we widening the dip into a tub situation? And then you could dip into the tub, and I think the margins would be right where you would actually sell more sides of ranch because you would get more coverage per dip, which would mean you would have to order more of them.
And that makes people thirsty. Sell more beer.
Boom.
All right,
Fuck yeah, man. I'm saying. So I think like a long tub for wings would actually change the game.
Okay.
So you can slide.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, stuff like that. And so that's 3, I guess.
Eric, what's
it
yours?
Left-handed
drew my
riding,
attention
telescoping
'cause
lids, and
a few years
wing
ago, I
tubs.
had an idea
There we
for I like got into backpacking and stuff, and there's a portable fishing rod. It's called an M rod, and it's basically like the end of a fishing rod, and it has a spring action hole where it attaches this the bendy part of the actual rod, and it's coiled, so you can have, depending on the amount of coils is the tension of the fishing pole. So it was kind of a pain in the ass because you have to, take this out, put it in and spring load it, and then put your fishing pole together. And I was like, always have a switchblade with me when I go backpacking. And I'm like, well, that same mechanism that they use for switchblades, it's a locking mechanism. So you can't fold it and hurt yourself. Why don't they just do that instead of having you to take this thing out, that you could lose the piece, just have it all one piece that locks, and then you open it up and it locks in like the same mechanism on a switchblade. And then you put your reel on and whatever, and you go fishing. So it wasn't anything like as profound as your telescoping lid, but very simple solution to something that was kind of a pain in the ass and a problem. It's like it saves a minute or two of fucking around with this thing where you could just flick it open and then put your reel on and start fishing. It's like simple stuff. And I tried to look into getting patents and all that stuff, and my brain damn near exploded on trying to understand what I all needed to do, how much money it was going to cost to get those things patented, going to a designer and having things. I tried getting it made from a 3D printer place. It was like 10 grand to get it done.
Whoa.
Everything was just way out of my price range to do. And I was just like, well,
It's probably a lot cheaper now. With
it probably is. It was a few years ago. It's probably 5 years ago. So I'm sure that's all those costs have gone down. But yeah, it was definitely something that I was I had prototypes made. I made basically kind of made a janky one out of an old switchblade and welded this thing the rod on and made sure it worked. I'm oh, this actually works. This is cool. And I brought it fishing with me a couple times, and I'm just it was just such a pain in the ass to try to figure out how to protect the patent for it, as well as to produce it and all that stuff. It was just too much. So yeah.
Was that your only invention?
I don't know. I've had so many failed ventures.
My idea.
Hell
Mike.
yeah.
You know how you like to use a microwave to warm things up?
Oh, this is good actually.
What
Sounds
about,
actually pretty
what
good.
about a micro freeze?
Not a freezer, because that takes
Frozen
too
in a
long.
flash, buddy. Yeah. I don't know how to use science to figure that out.
I love that though.
But why can't we make something why can't you get instant ice? I don't understand that. It's I got to sit there for 3 hours, plus to make even your fucking you warm beverages. We discussed this before the podcast.
Yeah.
When I buy some LaCroix, I want that shit cold right away. But it takes hours to sit unless you do an ice bath and shit. But
what if you did
even that,
CO2 cartridge that was a koozie that had a CO2 cartridge attached to it somehow? You could pop it and it would shh.
Idea, man. Yeah.
Bam, we're making ideas in this podcast today.
Good idea.
These are all patented by the Eric and Tony Show podcast.
Not use these ideas.
Mark Glazer.
Look at all the cameras at the same time.
TM.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Say TM?
yeah, TM. Just we'll add one of those little TMs.
Dude, that's a great idea. It is, especially because
micro freeze, good.
like if you get something like if you heat something up and then it's like boiling hot, like leftover manicotti or some lasagna or something, right? Where then you can't fucking eat it. You pop it in the micro cooler.
Bam.
Oh my god,
Freeze in
dude.
a flash, buddy.
Fucking brilliant.
Freeze in a flash, buddy.
Yeah, especially as a dude who
Good
loves
slogan
frozen
too. Freeze in a flash.
Because like I love a frozen pizza, but every time you take it out, like I want to eat it right away, but that's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
you gotta
let
wait
it cool
another
off.
10.
Exactly.
Damn, dude, I would buy that. I will buy that.
We're changing industries today, people.
Get on it, Tony.
This has been-
We can sell them on the podcast.
Charlie, what's your invention?
I don't know.
The sex robot.
Sex robot that's been done.
That runs off semen.
You could have. What about? You know what I did think? This is stupid. Mine isn't good. Yours are good. Okay. Ladies always complaining about their tan lines right at the beach. So you have a nice bikini, but they have LED tan. Mark, producer Mark. What? You have LED tanning light system in the bikini. So you're getting the all over tan in one go without having to be naked on the beach. But then I Googled it, right? I know it's not good, by the way. But anyway, but then I Googled this.
Might try to find some positive.
Someone did invent this and it started giving people cancer. They start getting cancerous cells because it's, you got an LED light on your skin for hours. It's burning you. So,
Dude, that's so funny. You clocked my eyes like trying to think of something kind.
I did think of one actually that was taken. This was good. The see-through toaster.
Oh yeah.
So you never burn your toast. Before I was onto that, there's thousands out there. So everything's been done now. You might as well just give up.
There's thousands out there.
Marky's bursting up bubbles. We're coming up with good ideas. Then he Googles something and it's right there.
See-through toaster.
Oh,
See-through toaster. Look at that.
Damn.
it is a brilliant idea though. You had that
Thank
without
you.
knowing about it.
Do you ever
That's
do that
awesome.
when you think of something and you're like, oh, what a great idea, and you're like, oh, someone else came up with it,
Dude,
but
I
then
had
you're
that
also
weird-
like, I
Yeah.
also like thought of that by myself without any influence, like just came out of that, like so.
You know what I
I
realized?
always give myself like the credit of like whoever invented that certain thing. Like I too am just as like innovative as that person. They just beat me
Well-
to it by fucking 20, 30 years.
The market for like kid shit, or when you have a kid, like just the stuff that like, because you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and you're just trying to figure out any way to simplify that whole process. So when we first had our son, like we used like we didn't have a baby wipe warmer, and we just wipe him with like a cold baby wipe. So he'd wake up and a fucking tear it in the middle of the night and just start screaming like, what if there's a way I could warm these up? I'm like, I'm gonna make a baby wipe warmer. I'm like, let me just Google this. And of course there's fucking like 30 different ones on Amazon and shit. I was like, fuck. But all that shit, like the amount of stuff, just like little trinkets or some, just stuff that you're never gonna really use, is just completely marketed to kids and stuff like that. That's like the number one way to fucking make something that's like completely disposable and useless is marketing to like new parents. Like, this would make your life easier. Like that's all that as seen on TV shit. That whole aisle at like Rite Aid is all those things.
That used to be like one of my favorite things growing up as a kid is all the as seen on TV.
The
Like
roly poly, remember that?
no, what was that?
It was like some like kid toy thing. I mean, it's probably, you guys are probably too young for that shit too, but it's like some housewife made like a thing for kids' toys to be rolled up in something. So it was like, put it in the roly poly.
Oh.
Man, you make me think about the how stroller technology has gotten out of fucking
dude.
control, man. Like they're built like tanks now with
Yeah,
these
man.
all-terrain wheels and crazy patches and like holders, and they all weigh 200 pounds.
Yeah, it makes
like,
you
it's-
wonder what they're doing with their kids.
Dude, we had a
Yeah, for
stroller that
real.
was like just like that. It was like it had like landing gear that came down, and it was like it was also a car seat. It was fucking dope. I mean, for traveling, it was literally just like you just pop out the fucking legs, and it was like it's like a $600 stroller and shit. And our kid grew out of it in like 6 months. I'm like,
That's
damn,
crazy.
dude, we're paying like $100 a month for that thing in a sense. Yeah.
$600 for a
$600.
stroller.
And then the other funny thing is like the ones that are like really built like tanks that just some people like, parents, I'm not going to specify gender, just fucking like rolling through the grid, just hitting everything. I'm like, you should probably watch out because the most precious thing in your life is in that thing. You're just banging into fucking shelves and other people and just like, yeah, dude, like that's it
There's
might
like the
be
most
durable.
expensive stroller, which is a nanny. You see those all the time. That's fucking crazy. I always think I'm like this person just kind of like takes your kid and raises it for you while you're right there with them. Like I see that all the time, and I'm like, you're not really doing like the whole.
You really can't
parenting
compare
thing.
like shop notes with people like that when they have someone else raising their kid. Cause it's like, oh, it's tough having a kid. Like, oh yeah, just hearing my nanny just being so tired when she wakes up from taking care of my kid, like a night nurse and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, I mean, maybe one, I'm broke, but also old fashioned. I like to have. That's why I had the kid, was for that whole experience and shit. But
yeah,
man, like just outsourcing all that kind of shit. We're like, oh yeah, I feel so bad seeing my nanny just so fatigued from, or even like the what is it like? I think it's a wet nurse when they actually like breastfeed your kid for you and shit.
Oh yeah,
you can have all this random and
yeah,
LA
you can
of course.
outsource all that shit. Yeah, you see it all the time out here.
Well, you like surrogates and shit like that, like actually like someone carrying your baby, and then to have like a nanny and like a wet nurse take care of it. So like when it's finally 10, you can start actually interacting with your child. You know what I mean? That's fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah, I held my first baby ever last year, like late last year. So within the last 6 months, I've held my first baby.
The first one you had yourself and you finally came around to get it, or like the first time you held a baby?
My friend had a baby, and I was like ready to interact with it around 10. I was like, I feel like that'd be an appropriate time for me to get to know it.
Yeah.
But that she was like, hold it. And it was like less than a year old. And dude, it's a trip, man.
Yeah.
It was like I didn't want to stop holding it once I did. It felt really cool. But just seeing this little being there, I was like, no wonder like you're like, oh my God, somebody else like handle this for a minute. This is insane.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Like up until so I was like, I never wanted to have kids. And then, I ended up getting married and having, the kid and all that kind of shit. But so I never like wanted to change diapers. I have nieces and nephews and stuff, but my sister's like, you want to change the diaper? I'm like, why the fuck do I want? No, I don't I clean up my dog shit because it's my dog, but I'm not cleaning up your kid's shit. That's your kid. And then like I put my son's first diaper on and changed his first diaper. So I was really like, kind of got into it, like, right after it happened and stuff. And then one of our friends had a kid like 6 months ago and we were at their house having dinner. I bring my kid, everyone's bringing their kids and shit. But they passed me the newborn, and just like it's funny because in hindsight, I have like 4 years dad experience, right? And they're like, look at how natural you hold the baby. I'm like, me natural? Like I don't even realize how like natural it became and stuff like that because they're a little delicate, nothing and shit. But like it's a cool experience. Like I'm happy that like I will not have another newborn. I'm a one and done dad.
Yeah, was that primal though for you? Like, did a lot of that come from like an instinct from cave people, or did you read books and talk to other people?
Yeah, I don't read.
Yeah, right. I mean, the same. Like, that's why I come here. Mark Googles it. And I'm like, word.
Mark, how do I be a dad? Google that. No, but there's just kind of, and I think it's like anything. Like, I didn't read a book on how to be in a relationship. You just think that how would you want to be treated, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of my approach to being a father. And the verdict's out that I'm a pretty good dad and stuff like that. Like,
sure,
but like,
fuck yeah.
It's just like, it's a cool experience. And then it's also your kid too. That's the other fucking trippy thing, man. Like, cause I didn't like, I'm not like getting high around my kid and fucking drinking around my kid and shit like that. And it was like one of the first times like my parents came to visit and stuff like that. And like I smoked and I saw my kid and I was like, oh my God, can you tell him hi? I'm like, he had no idea what the fuck's going on. But there's like that thing too, where there's like, in an emergency, like I never want to be incapacitated where I couldn't take my kid to the hospital and shit like that. And that's like the thing that's like, like my dad wasn't the same way. My dad was drunk driving us to fucking Toys R Us and shit. But there's like, okay, that's something I want to correct from my past. And you kind of, take those little, those notes and stuff like that. But how do we get on the subject anyways? We're talking about,
I don't know. We're talking about inventions.
Mike's saying he's ready to be a dad. That's what
he's
ready.
He's finally ready to hold the kid.
I held it. That was a good start.
Yeah.
After that, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's truly terrifying to me.
They're
I'm working on it. Yeah. I mean, I don't want kids, but like, it's been a huge thing just to like go through therapy and talk about my parents and my parents' parents and try and break those fucking cycles on my own. Cause if I can break a bunch of those cycles from past generations and start something fresh, I'll think I've done something good with my life. Even if I don't have a kid to pass those things on to.
Yeah.
I'll be like, that was a pretty successful run.
Great.
I think like being a good influence on other people in general is probably like my way to go in life. Like that's where I see myself being, and I kind of find myself taking on those roles. Like even there's a young kid that we work with. He just turned 19. Super nice kid, like inquisitive, asks questions and stuff. And I kind of find myself trying to like be like a bigger brother.
So I was like, hey, you want to go have a catch after work?
Yeah.
Punch in the glove.
Yeah. But I think like that there's also like you need that kind of person too. Like, you don't necessarily have to be like a father in order to kind of experience those like kind of interactions with other people and kind of like be there for someone and support somebody and be like a role model, kind of not saying that I'm a role model by any means, but like kind of help guide people that are younger and maybe like in a better direction than where they may be heading,
Yeah.
So I think you can get that in all facets of that,
I think that's cool too. Cause like for me, one of my New Year's resolutions is to be more of an asshole. Because I think it like, you know what I mean though? I think it like is important. Yeah. It's important to learn how to be an asshole.
I'm the same.
Yeah. and to be assertive and
You
to
guys are doing
speak
terrible
out.
jobs at it, by the way.
I know.
Yeah. We're codependent.
Yeah.
And
I get that. You just be too nice and then you go home angry sometimes.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. And it's
Learning to
really
say
served
no.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get
'cause
that.
I think had I had a role model who was a bit of a fucking prick in certain situations, and I would have been able to do that myself, it wouldn't be a New Year's resolution, but it feels really good to be an asshole. I yelled at someone in Rite Aid the other day, and I thought people were going to cheer because it was appropriate. You know what I mean? Like, it felt good.
All right, context. What
Justified
happened at
asshole.
Rite Aid?
Yeah, huh?
What happened at Rite Aid?
Rite Aid, I was picking up my my prescription for some brain medicine, and there was a guy with a dog, and the dog just like peed. It was and the dog just peed on the floor.
Yeah.
And then he kind of just like didn't take any agency over that and was like, oh, I'll clean it up. And then this person isn't doing anything to call anyone. It shouldn't be the person in Rite Aid's job to mop that shit up.
Right.
And I was like, give him some towels, you clean it up, put some cones around. I was like, am I the manager? This is amazing. You know what I mean? But everyone was like, thank you. Because otherwise people were like walking through it and being like, what the fuck? And it felt good. It felt good to just like raise your voice and be a bit of be direct, I guess.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. So in situations when it comes to like, because we were talking about like, I think we talk about this a lot, but like just staff in general and people not doing their job. And it's just like, that's kind of like, it's not my job. Or just like the, something as simple as like calling for a to-go order. I like called Wingstop and they're like, hello. I'm like, yeah, hi, is this Wingstop? I'm like, yeah. I was like, give me attitude. I'm like, well, why don't you fucking say, hi, this is Wingstop? Like, it sounded like you called your cell phone and shit. And we have a back and forth. And then she's like, do you want to make an order? I'm like, I'm not fucking making an order for you right now. Like, there's no way you're not going to spit in my food. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's because you didn't do the things that you're supposed to do as a protocol and shit. And I had a similar thing. I was taking my car to get serviced at a Chevy dealership. And I go through, this is during COVID, I go through this whole fucking outside walk through with the guy, the mechanic and shit. He gives me a service order. I go inside to drop my car off and get like a fucking, a rental car. And the second I walk in, the chick working the desk just fucking gives me an attitude. She's like, you got to go out there and do this, and just fucking just gives me like 9 steps that I already did. And then she gets quiet. I'm like, all right, well, if you would have just asked what I was here for instead of just telling me, barking these orders, I would have told you I already did that. And I'm just here to get a rental car. And she gets fucking quiet. And it's just this fucking awkward like silence that I sit in with her and shit that. And like, there's other people coming and she's like making jokes with her. And I'm just like, you know, like I'm mad. Like you fucking like, you assume that I'm an idiot like everyone else is, but like I did my shit. And now you're in this awkwardness and I'll let you sit in that shit. I'm not going to try to make it fucking like, you know, make small talk and shit. So they gave me like a rental car for like 3 days. And then like 4 hours later, they call me and they're like, hey, your car is ready. Come pick it up. I'm like, okay. So I'm living in South Central at the time. I leave. I get my kid over to my in-laws to watch him, right? So I have like a babysitter. I start driving and they close at 5. And I look at the fucking like the navigation. It says I'm not going to get there till like 4:55. So I call and I'm like, hey, just let you know I'm going to be there like right at the time, but like just don't close because I'm coming to get my car. And they're like, oh, sorry, we blocked the lot at 4:50. I'm like, okay, but it says you're open till 5, so don't block the lot. Just like keep it open because you called me to come and it's to take me an hour and a half to get there with traffic and shit. So I'm not going to drive to like a 3-hour round trip for no fucking car.
Right.
Like you made me get in my car for this. Now you need to stay open like your fucking website says. And she's like, I'm sorry, that's sales. It's the same lady that had the argument with her earlier, by the way. I can tell from her voice and her name's Vanessa or some shit. I was like, fuck. I'm like, well, let me talk to sales. And then the sales lady gets on and she's like, yeah, sorry, we blocked the lot at 4:50. I'm like, okay, I'm just telling you, don't block the lot because I have a babysitter right now watching my kid because you told me to come get my car. So don't fucking block the lot. And we start getting in this fucking shouting match. I hang up on him and I'm like, I'm fucking coming. I'm like all mad driving the Burbank, like the Chevy of Burbank or something like that.
Surprising you don't like Fast and Furious. That's
yeah, no, right? I wasn't driving very fast. The freeway is fucking blocked. But so I look at the
Fast and Furious 5 was that whole premise.
Very slow, very furious. And like this time my ETA goes from like 4:55, 4:59. It's like 5:15. I'm like sitting there in traffic and I had to make the call. I'm like, I can't get my car. Like they won. And I couldn't go back the next day to get it because I'm not going to go over that boiled up and be like, try to recapture that anger and shit that like I'm walking all mad. Because that's the thing too, is like, I'll get mad about shit, but I can't like just house that because it's just like, it is what it is. I have to fucking get it out at the moment. Because I don't, you know, if you want lessons on how to be an asshole, I can give you, because I will just let that shit vent, man. Because I can't take that kind of shit because that was not how I was raised.
Fuck no.
You got to do your job. And if you fucking say you're going to do something, do it. If you're saying to be somewhere, fucking be there. Don't fucking like, I've never called out sick from a job in my entire life. The only time I fucking I got in my motorcycle accident, my chin was all split open and shit, like my bone was poking out. I still went to work all concussed and they're like, dude, you got to go to the doctor. Like your face is all fucked up.
Wow.
So I just don't, even hungover, drunk, whatever. I still drunk.
So I stay inside, man. Just fucking people just are not. They're not for me. People aren't for me.
People are not for you, dude.
No.
Wait, did you get the car or not? No car.
No car. No,
no fucking car.
I actually sent my ex-wife back to get the car because I was like so mad. I didn't want to go over there and shit like that. And I also don't want to I didn't want to grovel and be like, hey, sorry about yesterday, because it wasn't my fault. Like you all suck at your job and you're all trying to get out of here early or whatever the fuck it is. But again, and that's the thing is the customer is always right thing has gone out the window. And I'm not saying in a stupid situation where you make some asshole food order and you don't like it, now you're still right. It's just no, but you said you're going to be somewhere. So I'm coming for you for the provided services that you had advertised that you're open till 5 o'clock and I'm gonna get my car back. But now you want to have a half day and shit. That's not how this works. So I'm still paying the full price and shit. You're out of your fucking mind.
At least you didn't hold on to it though, eh?
Yeah. It's not
got over it.
Yeah. Dude,
at least you probably don't think about it every day. So that's good.
You wake up
Dear
at
diary,
night.
I thought about it again.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Man, I do have one move that I'm really happy with, because especially with customer service stuff where it's they're the first and last line of defense in the castle. And more times than not, even though it doesn't go well and you there's no agreement. There's no hey, I want this refund. They're we can't do this refund. You just go back and forth forever. So what I started doing, especially for places like Airbnb and Vrbo and high price stuff that fucks you out of stuff, and then they're sorry, it's between you and the house and bullshit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just go right on LinkedIn and I punch up my resume and then I write to all the top people from that company on LinkedIn and their messages, and then they look and they're oh, he wrote for HBO and he did this for Comedy Central, and I'm and this is my problem and this is what I want, and they're no problem, and then I get a call from someone in their office. Boom, done, solved.
Brilliant.
And so LinkedIn is the jam for shit like that. For real.
Yeah, dude. I had
you just have to have really good credits though in order to pull that off.
They don't know. They're not gonna look it up, man. You can say whatever you like. Yeah. Say that you were up for Thanos. Who cares? They don't give a shit. They just want to move on with their day. And they're oh, why is this guy reaching out to me? I'm important. And so keep it pushing.
That's true.
Yeah, it's nice.
My parents used to do shit like that. I think growing up, they would go out of the way and write letters to companies and say we're unhappy with your product. And then they get a box in the mail of a bunch of free shit from that company, samples or whatever. They would do that all the time.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I just wanted my $6,000 back.
Oh, that's
because they took it and
$6,000.
ran. Yeah,
That's
on Vrbo. They just were they canceled it last minute, and then because it was within the window of no refund after this cancellation, I couldn't get my $6,000 back.
that's insane.
LinkedIn saved the day.
Yeah.
I would never call about a
if it was
frozen
$6,000,
pizza that had 12 pepperonis instead of 13.
Yeah.
To whom it may concern, DiGiorno.
Yeah.
$6,000.
As
Probably
advertised, I see 12
drive.
pepperonis on the cover. Yeah.
I measured the crust and it does not rise the way that it rose on the cover.
Dude, sometimes you get the power tripping people because I missed a whole fucking trip with my kid back to Wisconsin because I got to the airport within the window of the cutoff and shit. And
Tony,
did he?
Yeah. No, I was there. I was still there in time. But literally,
Tony's I got a flight at 8.
We love you, Tony, but
you pull it up at 7:45 with
listen to Eric.
With luggage and a kid, and they're no fucking way. I would have loved to have been there and
Buddy,
seen this.
I was
all
there.
go through.
I was there
when we heard that.
Everybody,
He wasn't there, was he?
everybody that heard that story was yeah, dude, you're fucking this late. You're late for your
Tony.
flight.
No. I was there
Dude.
in time. However,
So watch the plane fly off.
Even the
into
chick because
sunset.
I had my son, so I needed some baggage, tags for my bags and shit. So I had check bags and stuff, and I tried to print it from the kiosk, which didn't work. And then I flagged an agent over, and she tried to help me do the same thing. I just did that, but we're doing it again, and we're just wasting time. And then she finally sent me to the desk. And when I got up,
What time was your flight supposed to take off?
7:45.
And you got there at what time?
At 6:45, an hour early.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, if he did.
But you need
If
to be
he
there.
did, fair
You
enough.
need to be there
That's when
45 minutes before your
that's
flight.
when you got the car was there, and then
No,
you got
man,
out of
I
the
literally
car.
was there.
You grabbed
I got
you grabbed
dropped
little
off.
Tony.
I'm there at the kiosk. The chick
You're
says,
"Where's the
you have
kiosk?
time.
That's
She says,
15
you have
minutes."
time. We ended up doing the same thing I already did. I waited in line to get up to the desk agent, and then right at 6:59, rolling to 7, the chick's like, no, you're too late. And I'm like, I'm not too late. It's
That's
exactly
the time that
45
I
minutes
will
in
get
time.
to the airport. When I not only have luggage, I just bring a backpack wherever I go. No, nothing. I have my
But
already
you're a fucking
pre-boarding
weirdo,
pass.
though. You're like,
No, I'm not. I'm an adult.
You want to live in an airplane hangars
No.
in your truck. That's all.
It doesn't matter. I'd still get there on time.
And it doesn't matter if you have a kid. You can't travel that
exactly. You
but
can't. Exactly.
Lesson learned. I'll never be there that close a window. But the same thing there too is a power trip scenario. And I curbed my energy, my fucking anger. I wasn't like yelling at the chick. I was like, so you want to ruin my child's trip? She's like, yes, I do. I was like, okay. See Anthony? See the bad lady? Like, just like
She
I had
said
like,
that?
yeah,
Yes, I do.
no, I basically, yeah. I'm well, in a sense.
That's great.
She said, best I can do is get you on like standby and shit. And then I went through the whole standby process. I'm like, so if I don't get on the flight, my bags are going to Chicago and my mom's had to go pick them up and not me. Like, yeah. And I just fucking stayed home and did a staycation. It was my son was asking about it like for like days. Like, so when are we going to see Yaya and Poppy? I'm like, we're not. Daddy doesn't know how to check the fucking clock and shit. Like, I was eating crow for a couple of days, but yeah, these two fucking knuckleheads won't let me hear the end of it.
Oh, never let him live it down. Well, I think we're getting the wrap it up from little Mark over there.
Yeah.
So, well, this is a fun hang.
Good hang. New friends.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Good chill. What's
Now-
the 23 for?
Michael Jordan.
So I can't actually remember. So we're going with Michael Jordan.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. A friend was opening a tattoo parlor. I was a little drunk. Ta-da! Cool.
Ironically enough, you're
I've Googled everything
21.
it could be. I couldn't find anything. So
Yeah.
It's
23 is a great
I'm pretty
number.
sure it's a 23 though, right? It's 23?
Were you 23 when you got it, perhaps?
No.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking cracking mysteries.
Yeah.
Damn.
23 is my favorite year on this earth.
That's a
When's
whole
what
podcast.
day's your birthday?
That's not anything to do with 23.
That's hilarious.
Yep. Did that one too. I looked into everything. Family's birthdays, no one's on the 23rd. No 3 or a 2 in any month.
Just a random number
Fucking
on
cool.
your finger.
Pretty cool, right?
Pretty cool.
Fuck it.
Well, congratulations.
Get random numbers, dude. I don't give a fuck. Tap me up. All right, Mike Glazer, where can the people find you at, my friend?
Okay, so I have a show at the Comedy Store called Glazer's After Party. Next one is in July 19th, 10:30 p.m. I give away a bunch of free weed. We do a bunch of stand up and then we just party all night. And I love it too because it's a Wednesday night. So if you show up for a 10:30 show on a Wednesday, like you're there to turn up. So let's fucking turn up.
Yeah,
You know, that's how I feel about that. And then I got another one at the Hollywood Improv called Bangers Only. That's going to be once a month starting, I think, in August. Just a bunch of banger comics. And then my Instagram is Glazer Boo Hoo Hoo if you want to see the pot invention.
Yeah.
Also, I just
I'm
had a
gonna follow
couple
that
clips
right
go
now.
viral, so that feels good. So watch
Yeah.
those too at Glazer Boo Hoo Hoo.
Glazer.
Right.
Boo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah, check them all out. And then we can all get high.
I'm going to follow
Yeah,
you right now
nice.
so I don't forget.
Yeah.
No, you say you plug your shit, then follow him, okay?
Oh, you can find me at Charlie Clark on Instagram, and that's about it.
All right.
See you
You
there.
can follow me at Tony Klein Comedian on Instagram and keep moving.
You can buy all the merch for this show, Eric and Tony Show podcast at adventuredome.com. You can also buy one of these dog shirts that nobody's bought yet that I have on there. Go to
adventure.
Eric Rustler for Instagram and make sure to check out the Eric and Tony Show on Spotify, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the social medias. And yeah, stay tuned. We'll be doing these every week. We pumping them out. And thanks again, Mike Glazer, for coming on and
Hell yeah.
telling
Thank
us
you,
some
Mike.
inventions and
This
having
is
a hang.
dope. Good hang, y'all. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, man.